Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into James Clear's blockbuster book, Atomic Habits, and we're going to pull out the absolute core ideas to give you a clear, actionable way to start building a better you. So let's start with a feeling I think we all know. You're putting in the work, right? You're studying every night, you're hitting the gym, but you're just not seeing the results. You feel like this stonecutter, just hammering away at this giant rock with absolutely nothing to show for it. Well, in Atomic Habits, James Clear actually gives this feeling a name. He calls it the plateau of latent potential. And here's the key idea. Your effort isn't being wasted. Not at all. It's being stored. Think of it like energy building up before an earthquake. All the real meaningful change is happening under the surface, just waiting for that breakthrough moment. Okay, so if these huge, heroic efforts just land us in this valley of disappointment, what's the alternative? How do we actually break through that plateau? Well, the answer lies in something called the aggregation of marginal gains. The British cycling team, they were a joke for about 100 years. Then they brought in a new performance director who started looking for tiny 1% improvements everywhere. I mean, they redesigned bike seats, they tested massage gels, they even hired a surgeon to teach the riders how to wash their hands properly to avoid getting sick. Now, the results of all these tiny little changes wasn't just a small improvement. It was a total, complete transformation. They started dominating the Tour de France, the Olympics, the whole shebang. And the math behind why this works is frankly staggering. Get this. If you improve by just 1% every single day for a year, you will end up 37 times better by the end. 37. On the flip side, if you get 1% worse every day, you basically decay down to nothing. This is why he says habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. They don't just add up, they multiply.
But to really tap into this amazing power of compounding, Clear says we have to make a huge shift in how we think about our ambitions. We need to stop staring at the finish line.
And that means focusing on our systems, not our goals. So a goal is the result you want, right? Win a championship. But the system, that's the process. It's how you practice, how you train, what you do day in and day out. Goals are great for setting a direction, but it's your systems that actually get you there. This leads to maybe the most powerful quote in the entire book. Here's the thing, winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. Every Olympian wants a gold medal. The difference isn't their ambition, it's the system they use to show up and make progress every single day. But building a great system isn't just about what you do, it goes deeper. Claire argues that the most powerful kind of change is identity change. It's about changing not just your actions, but your beliefs about who you are. And this is a total game changer. The goal isn't just to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. The goal isn't to write a book, it's to become a writer. See, every time you take the stairs instead of the elevator, you are casting a vote for the identity of, I am a healthy person. These tiny actions reinforce the kind of person you want to become. Okay, so this all sounds great. We want to build identity-based habits using a 1% system. But how? How do we actually do this in the real world? This is where Clear gives us his amazing practical toolkit, the 4 laws of behavior change. He breaks the whole process down into 4 simple, super memorable, and most importantly, actionable laws. Each one is like a lever you can pull to make good habits stick and bad habits disappear. The first law is all about the cue, the trigger for your habit. We are way more likely to do things that are right there in front of us. So if you want to eat more fruit, don't bury it in a drawer in your fridge. Put a big bowl of apples right on the kitchen counter where you can't miss it. And here's a brilliant little trick for this one, habit stacking. You just piggyback a new habit onto one you already do without thinking. So the formula is, after I do my current habit, I will do my new habit. For instance, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Your coffee becomes the obvious trigger. Simple, right? Second, habits have to be appealing. Our brains are basically wired to chase dopamine, to do things that feel good. So the more attractive you can make a habit, the more likely you are to actually do it. A fantastic way to engineer this is with temptation bundling. You link something you want to do with something you need to do. So maybe you only let yourself listen to your favorite true crime podcast while you're exercising. Suddenly, hitting the treadmill becomes a lot more attractive. The third law taps into a fundamental truth about all of us. We are wired to follow the law of least effort. We naturally gravitate toward the easiest option. So you have to make your good habits as frictionless as you possibly can.
And the best tactic for this is the 2-minute rule. This is genius. You scale down any new habit so that it takes less than 2 minutes to do. So, read before bed every night becomes read one page. Do yoga becomes roll out my yoga mat. The goal isn't to master the habit right away. It's to master the art of just showing up.
And finally, for a habit to really truly stick, it has to feel rewarding immediately. Our brains are built for instant gratification. The end of the habit has to feel successful right now.
A simple way to do this is with visual reinforcement. There's this story in the book about a guy who started with 2 jars on his desk. One was full of 120 paper clips, the other was empty. Every time he made a sales call, he just moved one paper clip from the full jar to the empty jar. That tiny action gave him this little hit of satisfaction, a visual sign of his progress that made him want to do it again.
So let's just pull all these threads together for a second. We've got the plateau of latent potential, the power of 1%, focusing on systems over goals, changing our identity, and those 4 laws.
You see, the big message of Atomic Habits is that you don't need some massive, life-altering transformation. You don't have to burn everything down and start over. Real, lasting success is the product of these tiny, atomic habits, compounding one on top of the other, day after day, until you finally break through and get those remarkable results.
These habits are the building blocks of who you become. And that really just leaves us with one simple, powerful question. What's one tiny change you can make today that could transform your tomorrow?